Well, good afternoon, West Ham fans. Let's try and predict the 11 for the game tonight against Freiburg. Yes, everybody, Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you're safe, Mill. Happy match day, and it's live as we play Freiburg in the Europa League last 16, first leg in Germany, the Black Forest battle. I couldn't just quite get to work. But fair play. There's loads of fans going out there. There's loads of travel issues as well. So safe travels, stay safe, enjoy a beer, and safe travels back home as well. As we always try to do, before a couple of hours before kickoff, we try and predict the 11. Now, I think tonight will definitely show the eggs in the basket in terms of Moyes, in terms of getting through, in terms of his priorities. He said at the press conference yesterday, which was quite interesting, how he was looking to get back into Europe via the league for next season, rather than necessarily getting back into Europe in general, winning the tournament or going gung ho for the Europa League. Now, I very much doubt we'll win the tournament. I think there's a lot of better teams than us, the likes of Leverkusen, Liverpool, as the two. I think we're third. I think we're full favourite after Brighton. Brighton are just ahead of us for some reason, and despite the fact we're higher than them in the league. But regardless of that fact, I think it's our best chances in the league. But obviously progressing and having a good show in the Europa League will obviously help the coefficient scores as well, which means potentially we could, regardless, we could get extra place if one of the teams win the Europa League in the Champions League spot. It's quite confusing, but Holly did a little show about it yesterday in terms of Villa. If they win the Conference League and they're still in the Europa League and we're in the right coefficient scores and we go straight into the group stage, whenever that happens. But it's important to at least get through, I think, this round, because you never know what happens. A couple of favourable ties, and maybe some of the other getting knocked out. You never know. You never know in cup competitions. You've just got to concentrate on getting through. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, we do play Burnley on Sunday, so there might be some consideration for that as well. We know Moyes does tend to change the side up for Europa League or the European games. Not loads, maybe 3 or 4 places. I'll be surprised if he does as many, because we're in a bit of a vein of form at the moment. I think there's a couple of people he may well rest. But to be honest, I think the majority will probably play. We know the goalkeeper and stuff like that will be swapped in and out. You might see. Let's just go. That's the point of the show. Let's go through it. That makes perfect sense for us. Rather than suggest, let's actually go through it and have a look. So let's start with the sort of the easy one. It's a cup competition, so therefore it's Areola gets the night off, and Fabianski comes in. And Ariola's had a good run of it recently, last couple of games. So Fabianski will come in and hopefully have a good showing. And maybe he might not have as many shots on target as Areola. Who knows? Stranger things have happened at sea. Now, for me, I think let's have a think. Let me have a bit of a think about this. I think Ben Johnson gets a run out tonight. I think Vlad gets a bit of a rest. And I think Ben comes in. I think, and he'll do admirably there, because every time he's been brought in, he's always performed. He's always tried his hardest. Bless him. So I think he starts right back. I think Emerson starts at left back. I don't see Aaron Cresswell coming in, particularly being in Germany. We know Cresswell doesn't do particularly well in Germany in the Europa League. So I think, and as we said this morning, it's likely he's not going to be offered a playing contract in the summer. He may well go on a free transfer or be offered a coaching role at the club, because obviously, after Nobes, he has the most Premier League games for a West Ham team, for West Ham side. So over 300 games, I think he's had for West Ham into the Premier League. Anyway, centre halves. Now, with Burnley in mind on Sunday, I think Zuma gets the night off. I think Mavropanos is, obviously Germany. He'll have experience of playing against them as well. And well, I've already played them already, but you know what I mean. He's in that vein of form. Now on the left hand side is quite interesting because Moyes in his press conference, I don't think I've got the actual wording, but he said that there was a question mark over Aged and Cornet hasn't travelled. So I think the assumption was that Aged's travelled and Cornet hasn't. Now, question mark. I mean, there was no question mark last week the last 2 games where he's been dropped. Really, there's been no discussion about him being injured. So whether that question mark is mentality, right frame of mind, rather than injury, I don't know. We're just speculating. So to me, it's either Ogbonna or Aged comes in. My preference is Aged, just because I think he has more mobility than Ogbonna. But sometimes he does get one of those games, doesn't he, where he just pulls one out the bag. I think personally, Emerson plays better with Aged behind him rather than necessarily Zuma, who's been the last few games, or Ogbonna. So let's just distribute them. That's better. So that's what I mean. Obviously, if Aged isn't available, then for me, Ogbonna comes in. I give Zuma the night off. He's had a cut. Last week he played 2-game week. There's the travel, and I'd rather have him, ready for Burnley, just because that's what I want. Simple enough. Right, and then let's have a think. Here. I think, JWP was doing the press conference yesterday. So whether that means he's gonna start or not, I think Phillips comes in today. Because I think we can not afford to give someone a rest, but I think there's an opportunity to give someone a rest. Now, whether that's Alvarez, JWP, or Souček is up for debate. For me, I'm gonna say double pivot Alvarez and Phillips, and then Tommy Souček like that. That's sort of probably how he sort of plays a little bit of it. I'm double guessing myself. I'm double thinking it. I'm overthinking it. Because I think Antonio gets a run out tonight. I think Antonio gets a run out tonight. So if he gets a run out tonight, okay, let's take Souček out. Let's give Souček the night off. Let's put JWP in the 10 role, so to speak. I think Antonio gets some minutes today. I think we can not afford to give him some minutes, but I think this is an ideal opportunity to get him some game time. Antonio, I don't know why I'm pushing Phillips about JWP around all the time, but I think Antonio gets some game time today. And then I think he goes with... Does he give Paqueta the night off? Not the night off, but does he start with him? I don't think... Okay, I'm going to go with this. It's going to be totally wrong, and he'll start Paqueta, and he'll just play the same side he's played all bloody season so far. But I think he's going to give Paqueta the night off. Just come back from injury, and he's, as I said, clearly there's an emphasis on the Premier League in terms of trying to qualify for Europe via the Premier League. We've got a potentially a winnable game on Sunday, which would help sort of cement that 7th spot potentially. And so I think Paqueta would be more useful there. I know he's travelled. There's a picture of him literally walking onto the plane with a glass, with a espresso. It looks the coolest fucking picture in the world. So that may change. He might go for the front three as always, but I just think with Sunday in mind, I wouldn't mind seeing Antonio given some minutes. If that's the case, you don't need the physicality of Tommy Souček. He might put Souček in and not put JWP in. At the end of the day, Bowen can take the crosses and corners and stuff like that, so it's not a massive deal. Emerson can take from the left-hand side. That's what he tends to do anyway. So I think I'll be happy with that. It'd be good. I mean, Phillips' experience as well, useful. Obviously, the likes of Edson has played in Europe as well. We know that. Obviously, we played plenty of games beforehand in Europa League, and Champions League as well for Edison and Kudus. But yeah, I think, and to me, that's enough to do a job. That's enough to do a job. We spoke about Freiburg at lunchtime. Went through some of the stats. There's how they've sort of how their sort of seasons going so far, probably since the last time they played us. It's relatively similar. They've had a very poor time, really. Couple of wins, then a lot of defeats, couple of draws, a bit like what we've had until recently. It's sort of like a slight upturning form on our side, but that's what I reckon is going to happen. That'll be, and I think that has for me respect for Freiburg, because we've still got some very good players there. We've still got a lot of first team players, a lot of starters. But then also with one eye on Sunday, because that's important as well. And then on the bench, you'll have Paqueta on the bench. So if things are going a bit skewiff, we can maybe drop off. You could take off Antonio and put Paqueta on and pay the 3 up front, or take Phillips off and move JWP a little bit and put Paqueta into the 10 role, or move Kudus into the 10 role and put Paqueta onto the left hand side. There's flexibility. Zuma gets some a bit of a rest. He gets a week off basically between the last game. So does Sufal. So does Areola. Well, he doesn't really need it, but so does Areola, and so does Souček as well. And then I would hopefully, what I would love to see, we'd all love to see, is a relatively comprehensive victory with the ability to bring on someone like, I don't know, Ollie Scarles or George Earthy. I've seen a few of them travel out there, because there's obviously part of we can sort of take loads of the kids because of the B squad, so yeah. I'll be happy with that. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'll be fascinated, because it's one of those games where we haven't had Europe for a while, and it's a great opportunity to keep momentum going into the Burnley game. If we lost tonight, that to me sort of really flattens the last 2 Premier League games we've had, because it's about momentum. There's opportunity of coming out the next of these 4 games having won 4 in a row, and then obviously we play Freiburg next Thursday afternoon. That's weird, isn't it? Before the Villa game, because I think the Villa game is a very tough game for us. They're playing very well. Obviously, they'll be off the back of their Conference League as well, so of their sort of double header. So it'll be fascinating to see how both sides deal with that next Sunday. But anyway, let me know what you think, and we'll be back for the watch along and all that good stuff. So take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, and come on, you bloody Irons. Irons!